here.
We have little white snow things coming down outside, so.
The last hurrah of winter.
Hopefully this is the last hurrah of winter. Yeah, my goodness. Interesting winter. We have been really lucky, had real mild winters really for a few years. But remember when we first came in this building, it'll be like 11 years next month in this building, and you know this wall was like that, and there were weeds this high growing up into the buildings because you could see dirt because the wall had fallen out of the foundation, and it was cold there, which is why we have blankets, you know, here and there in the sanctuary, because we used to line them up all around there, so anybody that sat over on that side had to have a blanket on this time of year. It was cold, 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 cold. So, wonderful things that happen over the years. Hey, we have a calendar, wonderful things. Baptism, talking about that, so we're getting that planned. Of course, we start every Sunday with Qigong, and today is Healing Sunday. So it's always just a little bit different. Never know where that's going to go. Mind Shifters on Wednesday. And Dream Quest on Thursday. Communion setup and everything. Talking about Saturday and all that stuff. Daylight Savings Time. Is this normal to have Daylight Savings Time this early?
Yes.
Is it? I just like, really? Already? Wow. Okay. We do have an expo coming up, April 12th and 13th. We have things back there. Yes, we do. And we have advertisement coupons. They're actually, they're not worth anything, are they? Other than advertisement?
Yeah.
Or if, oh yeah, well, I mean, it reminds people that you can get $1 off if you bring a food item for a donation. So that's cool. So it is kind of $1 off.
Reminder card.
It is a reminder card. Yes. So everybody take a bunch of reminders and pass them out to people. Because we have changed our advertising this year, and even though we are still doing quite a bit of print, we are doing no electronic media this year at all. So it's all going to be Facebook and, you know, all social media. And this thing, could you turn this down just a little bit? We're a little bit hot here. All social media. So that's going to be, we did it last year a lot too, and it really, really helped. So we're going to do it again this year. Hey, yes?
I just wanted to point out, I tried to give somebody the Facebook page name, and I looked at it myself, and I didn't find any dates on there about when it is.
Okay. Did you hear that, Jan?
Nope.
Facebook, no dates for the expo this year?
I'm not in charge of that. I didn't know who I have requested updates. Okay. Sorry. If anybody can do that more easily than we can have someone else do it, so. Help. Hey, remember last week, and I talked about a palindrome, the number, it was the 1,011,000, 100,011, and $111 times itself is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is the same frontwards and backwards. That's a palindrome. The reason I say that is because this one is the words race car, kayak, and level are the same whether they are read left to right or right to left. There are palindromes. Yeah. There are only 4 words in the English language which end in DOS, D-O-U-S, which is tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. So now you know. I'll bet you came to church this morning wondering if that was true or not. So there you go. The most decisive action of our lives are most often unconsidered actions. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like, oops. Love your neighbor, yet pull not down your hedge. Yep. All the trouble in the world is due to the fact that man cannot sit still in a room. True. This is interesting. Home ownership by average persons in a modern development. Until the close of feudal times, the masses were held in serfdom. These peasants lived in rough cottages that belonged to their masters. There were, however, a few yeomen who belonged to the freeholder class. Not freeloader, but freeholder. I know when I first read that, I went, freeloader. I went, oh, no, that's why it wasn't at all. This was a hereditary honor given to distinguished service in war
or some other unusual exploit. A man winning or inheriting it was entitled to the privilege of owning a home and a few acres of land. He was termed a husband, from the hus, meaning house, and bunda, meaning owner. Since a husband occupied a social and economic position far above that of a serf, he was an attractive matrimonial match. Ambitious mothers were eager for their girls to win husbands. But by the 13th century, the title had come to stand for any man joined to a woman in marriage, whether he was a homeowner or not. That was interesting. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, you want to talk about this? Oh, here.
Oh. What? Good morning, everyone. Joe and I are going to talk about the expo. He has his own little agenda. I am going to start collecting. I know, he's got his own little agenda. I got a piece of paper. I'm going to start collecting things for the silent auction. This year we would like to ask that it stays within the theme of the expo. So Northwest Healing Expo, we were thinking more along the lines of maybe putting together some different items in like baskets or grouping things together that will pertain to what we're all about. So instead of asking for like gently used items from your home, we would like to ask for things like spiritual, more healing, more towards what the expo is all about, what we represent. So anything you can think of, even if you'd like to put together a little basket, a combination of things, you know, crystals, books, jewelry, things like that, things that would pertain to healing or spiritual books, things like that. So anything that you can put together and donate, bring them in here to church, and then I'll start collecting them in the back room. And then just a reminder again, you know, pick up some of these flyers. There's a ton of them back there, and start handing them out to people, friends, family, co-workers.
Businesses, bulletin boards,
and that's the other thing, too. Don't be afraid to go to a business that you know of in the community that's along the lines of the holistic or something, and ask for a donation for the silent auction. That would be as wonderful as anything. You know, like Just Roses, you could put together, you know, they sometimes will put together a packet. Things like that. Just think outside the box and see if we can't get some really good items. Thank you. Turning it over to the other agenda now.
Okay, we're looking for volunteers. A lot of us have volunteered in years past, and they're going to do so again from what I've been hearing from some of the people. But if you'd like to volunteer, we're looking for readers and healers. That'll be this one clipboard, and the other clipboard is for people who just like to volunteer. So, hold on. Pass those around, sign up. And just so you know, the expo runs from 10 till 5 on Saturday and 10 till 4 on Sunday. And Friday is open for setting up. And this year we can get in at about 8 o'clock in the morning. So the setup should go a lot faster this year. And some of the tasks that we're going to have for volunteers are, of course, the setup, which is measuring and marking the vendor spaces, doing the signs, putting them out, and removing them at the close of the event, welcoming vendors, ticket takers, receive monies, help with welcoming the attendees and handing out programs, services, which are bringing songbooks, supplies, and setting up the expo and cleaning up and things like that. Drum circle, Daryl's going to be in charge of that. That's opening and closing drumming and grandfather drum caretaking. Vendor dinners, we just going to need some help setting up and organizing that. The Divine Fellowship booth, selling raffle tickets, answering questions, and holding sacred spaces for visitors and vendors. And then the healers and readers, we're looking for volunteers who want to be the readers and healers. We're looking for anybody that'd like to do that. If you have just learned how to be a healer, you're more than welcome, but we'd like you to team up with somebody with some experience. And the silent auction, Val just covered that. There's an activities booth. Stephanie's in charge of that. That's for the kids of all ages. And then 2 more items. Radio people hate this. Then we have the cleanup and the food bank loadout. And the food bank loadout is, we're going to need 3 or 4 people for that because we get a lot of cans, a lot of canned foods. And so next Sunday, right after church, we're going to have about a half-hour meeting. It's just going to be kind of a question and answer. So if we'd like to see you there, if you're going to volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Daryl.
Yeah.
All right. I had so many people wanting to make drums. I'm going to have it again next Sunday. So if you want a drum, please get your name on the list. And I've already got, I think, 3 or 4 people are already coming. And please let me know. I need to know at least a couple of days ahead of time because I have to prepare for that. So please get your name on the list if you want a drum. Next Sunday, 1 o'clock right here.
And if you want to use your drum, in April, I think it's the 19th and 20th, Benton City is asking for help to put Benton City a little higher on the interest list in this area. So they have a car show every year, and we're going to add to that a Western, I can't remember the whole name. Cowboys and Indians kind of thing. Very good, thank you. And so I volunteered to talk with Daryl about all of us who have drums. They're going to have an Indian chief, Dirty Moccasin, and his drum, and some of his friends. And I said, we have these people who do drumming, and we sing, and oh, wow, that'd be really great. So think about that. If you would like to come, probably after church, I'll try to schedule it with them at a time that's convenient for either on Sunday afternoon or something. The 19th and 20th, I believe.
It's the first car show of the year.
The first car show of the year. And then they added this other thing. And they have old-time buggy rides with horses, and they want people to do old-time stuff like. As you can tell, it was just kind of impromptu that I'm doing this, okay?
Is it?
It is Easter. No.
Easter weekend?
It is Easter weekend? No.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me go back and check. Okay. Anyway, be thinking about to participate. I would appreciate it. I live in Benton City. Anybody else live in Benton City area? Yeah. To support them. It was pretty successful last year when they did it, so thank you.
I want to know about Dirty Moccasin. Is that a name his mother had beforehand? Or was that an event that caused it? Dirty Moccasin.
We do have a couple of patron saints, George Carlin and John Lennon. And John, your inside is out and your outside is in. I knew that. I knew that. And George, in comic strips, the person on the left always speaks first. It's George. You know, I don't have to understand. All I have to do is read it. Where is one place that your cat can sit that you can't?
On my lap.
Your lap. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Why did the cat put oil on the mouse? Because it squeaked. What side of the cat has the most fur? The outside. Ooh, boy, we got some sharp people here. Either that or they know me. Jeez. Okay. FedEx is expected to join its competitor UPS and become fed up. Fairchild Electronics and Honeywell Computer will become farewell, honey child. This is important stuff. A Sunday school teacher asked the children as they were on the way to church service, and why is it necessary to be quiet in church? One girl replied, because people are sleeping. Of course. Everybody knows that. And Sally was driving home from one of her business trips in northern Arizona when she saw an elderly Navajo woman walking on the side of the road. As the trip was long and a quiet one, she stopped the car and asked the Navajo woman if she would like a ride. With a silent nod of thanks, the woman got into the car. Resuming the journey, Sally tried in vain to make a bit of small talk with the Navajo woman. The old woman just sat silently, looking intently at everything she saw, studying every little detail until she noticed a brown bag on the seat next to Sally. "What's in the bag?" asked the old woman. Sally looked down at the brown bag and said, "It's a bottle of wine. I got it for my husband." The Navajo woman was silent for another moment or two. Then, speaking with a quiet wisdom of an elder, she said, "Good trade."
Let's hear it for those novels.
It did it. Yay. Okay.
How the heck are ya?
How much time do you have?
Not nearly enough. Before I begin, want to share with you that our little Toby cat, who is running around here somewhere, in the back row, sleeping. There she is. There's the Toby. Yay! Mary made sure she had her little kitty operation this week. She had her teeth cleaning, and then she had a little thing removed from her leg, and she's doing really well. And I hear she really likes her pain meds. They had to cut her back just a bit because she was shrieking around and rolling around anyway. So it's all good. Thank you all for your phenomenal donations to assist in her Toby care. It was very nice for you to do that. Thank you. Yay! Yay us! We're good. And thank you, Mary. She had to make sure she was here and picked her up and took her in and has been back and forth twice a day her and Mike have been back and forth twice a day to make sure she has her pills and keeping track of her. So thanks to Mary. Special thank you to Mary. Love you. I think you scared her, Phil. That's okay, you scare me too.
People don't scare you.
Ghosts don't scare me. Person walks in a room and I'm not expecting them. Anyway. I digress. Want to talk to you about Healing Sunday today. You know, there's all kinds of healing, and there's lots of people in this room who have either learned healing modalities or who have just been gifted with healing energy. So if you've had some sort of, how can I say this best? If you utilize healing, would you raise your hand? Okay. And what kinds of healings do you do? Just shout out the different things. Reiki, what else?
Personal space clearing through intention.
Personal space clearing through intention.
Crystals.
Crystals. Circle of life. High touch. Qigong. Mindfulness. Drumming. Quantum touch. Prayer. Tapping. Good one. Symbolic energetic healing. There's lots of things that we do to heal. Why? Because we are frail human beings and we get hurt. And sometimes it's not fun to have owies. So healing helps the body recover from life. Life happens. And as I was praying about today, what healing thing can we bring? What healing would be most beneficial to us? And I thought about having Phil doing some healings, because he's like phenomenal. He's really phenomenal. If you've ever experienced a Phil healing, that's pretty cool stuff. And then I thought about, well, let's just get all the healers together and let's just send energy around the room. And I got kind of a positive back on that. And I felt like there was more to it. There's more. So I think there's a couple of layers of things that I'd like for us to do today. First thing I would like for us to do today is send healing energy around the room. You know, when we do our energy circle at the close of service, we send energy around the room and we all receive and we all give, and that amplifies our energy. Whether you are trained in healing or not, you're probably a healer. Because here's the deal. Healers can look a lot of different ways. Some people heal by saying a kind word. Some people heal by the fact that they're an empath. You know you're an empath if you walk into a room somewhere and somebody's in a bad place, they walk away feeling better and you feel bad. You're an empath. Because an empath is a quicker picker-upper. It's what we do. The key for an empath is to learn to release the energy we've absorbed. I don't know how long I tried to put up walls and shields, and that just made me even more tired because it didn't work. Because energetically, an empath is structured to receive energy that is not okay, to release that from that person and give them okay energy. And so that's just part of what we do. So as an empath, your task is to learn to dismiss that energy and not take it on as your own. And being observant as to what all clear looks like for you. If I'm all clear and all of a sudden my elbow hurts, okay, who's got the owie elbow today, by the way? Who has a hurt elbow? Thank you for that. I'm receiving that for you, and your elbow should probably start feeling better anytime now. So, so how that works is that the empath will just pick it up. We just do. Now the key is to take that energy that I'm feeling. If I say, oh, my elbow hurts, oh man, I've claimed it. Crap. Now I have to deal with that as my own stuff. I've received that as my own stuff. If I can say, oh, someone has a hurt elbow because my elbow wasn't hurting 2 seconds ago. So now I can take this energy. It's not mine. I haven't claimed it. It's just an impression to trigger me to be aware that, oh, my healing abilities are now triggered. So now it's time to release that and give them some clearing. Help them with their energy. Okay? So I can either pull that off of my body. Sometimes it just floats in the aura and goes ping. And I can just clear it from my aura, and that's enough. Sometimes it gets a little deeper, especially if I have the same issue. If I have a hurt finger and you have a hurt finger, my finger's going to hurt worse because I already have that as a trigger point for me. So then I have to clear my stuff as well as your stuff. Does that make sense? So clearing that energy and keeping clear is really valuable if you're that empathic person. If you're not an empath, you still can be a healer, and it might be easier for you because empaths take it personally. And the key for an empath is to learn that it's just stuff, it's just energy, and I don't have to take it personally. Oh, I've got a headache. Oh, no, I don't. It's not mine. I don't have to carry that. But it's a facilitation of neutralizing energy. Energy is like, if you put water in a U-tube, it'll balance itself out. Energy likes to be balanced. Energy likes to be balanced. So if you're in a not okay place, an empath is going to say, okay, let's balance that out. Let me share with you some of the balance that I have, and I'll take some of the imbalance from you. Now, if I'm out of balance and you're out of balance, we're both out of balance. We're both screwed. If you're not an empath, you can still pick up that stuff. You just won't feel it as a physical impression in your body. You may get it as a, ooh, I see a little shadow right there, a little dark spot. Let me clear that off for you. Perhaps you will sense it as a weight, or you'll sense it as some sort of a visual. Perhaps you won't sense it till you get home at night and go, you know, I feel like it would be really good to pray for that person. And you may not even know why. Because the compassion of your heart is the part of you that heals, right? So, whatever your form of healing, know that you are a healer. Because we all came here to bring love into this planet. To anchor love, loving presence. And that's the key of healing. That's the main vibrational energy of healing. Because when we're in this state of being of love, then pain is just stuff we go through. It doesn't define who we are, doesn't change who we are. It just brings us to a different level of awareness. So let's do, this is two-part. Let's do part A first. And part A is to bring an energy vibration into this room of that divine healing. There are people who are suffering in this room, and sometimes the suffering is physical, and sometimes the suffering is emotional, and sometimes it's mental, and sometimes it's spiritual. Healing will take place on all four levels. All four levels. So bringing your understanding about life and love and healing into a situation, being aware of it, being clear, those are all really important things. So as we tap into the spiritual energy of healing, with our intent, with our emotional compassion, and by physically drawing that energy through us and out our hands, then we have activated all of those levels of healing: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So what I'd like this to look like is for you to find a place in your world, in your physical form, where you feel solid, where you feel safe. Maybe you'd like to anchor yourself into the physical realm. Some people like to do that by creating a crystal cave beneath their feet, and knowing that that crystal cave is the place to absorb some of that energy that maybe you as an empath might pick up. Some people like to just be aware of the earth. Some people like to just be aware of where their feet touch the floor. Whatever works for you. There's no wrong way, and there's no right way. There's a good way. And whatever way works for you is a good way. So do what works for you, okay? So with that connection, that grounding, that sense of safety, ask for healing energy to be gifted to you. You don't have to know what that looks like. And you don't have to be some expert. Just know that by being willing to share, and through that compassionate state of being, that the healing energy in this room is going to ramp up. And anybody that needs it for whatever they need it for can receive that. And this will diminish pain, will assist in healing. That makes sense? Slurpee, slurpee. She must be teething. Speaking of that, oh, pacifier. We all need that now and then. So, with your intent, connect to whatever helps you feel safe. Perhaps that's just knowing that your heart space is open and you're in a safe place. Ask for that divine healing energy to flow through you, into you, and out your hands. And just lift your hands up and allow that energy to flow into this room. Now, if you're in a place where you're in pain, bless you, and you would like to be the recipient of that healing energy, you can participate and receive and give energy as well. Give a healing, get a healing. energy will flow through you, and whatever you need will stick. So just allow that energy to come in, breathe it in, and exhale, and give it as a gift. Breathe it in, and exhale, giving it as a gift. One more time, breathe it in, and exhale, giving it as a gift. And just allow that energy to continue to flow effortlessly. It does not require any effort on your part. And if you feel the need for healing energy, be willing to receive. Sometimes I think that's the hard part, being willing to receive. So much easier to give. All right, as that energy continues now, let's go to part B. So you can continue to use that energy, but if you'd like to bring your awareness back into the present time. When I was asking about healing for us, what came up the most for me was a lot of us need healing of the noodle. We tend to believe that which is not true. We tend to believe the lie that we've perpetuated within ourselves of not being good enough. And that's the hardest part to cure. That's the hardest part to heal. What will keep us on the path, a sacred path, a good road, is to know your truth. If you know the truth of who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Yes, we have a culture, a community. It's important to be a good citizen. It's not anarchy. At the same time, we can be bully-proof by knowing our own truth. If you know you're doing the very best you can, it doesn't matter what somebody else criticizes you about. You can be bully-proof. So that when the criticism comes, you can look at it and say, well, is that something that I could improve on myself about? Or is it their critical nature or their wounded soul that is spewing at the moment? Having that space between us and a life experience gives us that sacredness, that sacred space where we honor ourselves. That's called wisdom. That's called wisdom. Wisdom is tough because you know what? Our feelings get in the way. You hurt my feelings. I'm never going to speak to you again. We do. I do. We all do. We get our feelings hurt because we're human. It is the human part of us that is tender and precious. And knowing that we are tender and precious makes it our responsibility to protect that tender, precious part of us. It's not your job to protect me. It's not your job to make my life okay, my world okay. That's my job. That's my responsibility. And sometimes the head gets in the way because there's knowledge and then there's wisdom. And knowledge is telling me, well, I screwed that up really big. I probably am a failure. Wisdom says, well, I won't make that mistake again. That's the difference. Wisdom just locks and loads, and here's a fact. Here's an experience. Here's evidence. And wisdom takes into account for that the capacity for humanity to learn, the capacity for humanity to be more than they were yesterday. to grow and to thrive. And when we're busy beating ourselves up, we don't thrive. You know, sometimes comedians will drop the F-bomb. And you know, sometimes the F-bomb is the only thing that'll work once in a while. I have kind of weeded it out of my vocabulary a lot, but once in a while. I'm going to challenge you to do a truth bomb. Do a T-bomb. And here's the deal. When there's a T-bomb, boom, that hits and the lie dissipates. The lie dissipates. Now, I don't know what lie you tell yourself, but the lie that frequently comes up for me is, you're not good enough. You can't do that. You're not good enough. So I have a T-bomb that I always call on. I'm going to share it with you today. Because you have a T-bomb. You just may not know it yet. Here's my T-bomb. Somebody's beeping. And where did you go? There you are. This is in Mark chapter 14. And this is before Jesus was crucified. And this lady came in and she broke this valuable, expensive vial of perfume and poured it on his feet. Right to his feet. And of course, Judas, who was the keeper of the purse, you know, he kept the money that was collected and stole from it. He was not a nice man. He said, oh, we should have taken that money and sold that perfume and taken that money and given it to the poor. And Jesus, knowing full well that he was pilfering from the bucket, said, you know, poor's going to be with us, but she did what she could. This is exactly what she has done what she could. I want that on my gravestone or memorial. She did what she could. Because then when that voice comes in, you could have done that perfect. That wasn't perfect. That's not good enough. She did what she could. At the end of the day, when I'm tired and there's 10 more things that I really would like to get done or that really should get done, she did what she could. And I've lived my life. She did what she could. From one she did what she could to the next she did what she could. Somebody's not happy back there. She did what she could. So, so what do you live by? What is your truth? You know, in John chapter 8, verse 32, you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. Well, that's relating to Christianity. Those that followers of the way relate to that as the truth that Jesus is the Son of God. And yet that's a truth that transcends any faith. If you know the truth of who you are and what you're really all about, set you free. Set you free. See all these little pink things? They come from Proverbs. I've got a bunch of stuff marked in Proverbs. And you know why? Because sometimes we don't know the truth. We've heard the lie so long. We've told the lie to ourselves so long, we forget. We forget the truth. And I love Proverbs because there's usually these little phrases, these little couplets of wisdom. They're T-bombs. I love it. Love it. Here's one. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart. So you have a place to write stuff on your heart. What have you written on your heart? Have you written, loser? Time to erase that one. Time to erase that one. And put love and kindness there. Kindness and truth. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. It's important to watch over our hearts with diligence, because if we're careless, then somebody else's expression of life gets written on there. It's like one of those, remember those kids, when we were kids, you could just go, You pull them up, and then you could write on the little thing, and then you pull that up. I love those things. You know, you could draw all kinds of stuff, and you could get rid of it. Well, your heart has one of those. Just go and get rid of that shit. You don't need to carry that with you anymore. Let it go. It's your responsibility, not anybody else's. Nobody else can fix that for you. Fun stuff. What the wicked fears will come upon him, and the desire of the righteous will be granted. Oh, don't you love that truth bomb? Let that hit your life. Because here's the deal. That which we fear will appear. Stop being afraid. Rip that shit out. Really? You don't have to be afraid. So what's the opposite of being afraid? Walking a path of righteousness, right wiseness, just do the right thing. Be good. Do the right thing. You know what's right. You know what's right for you. Just walk that path. And the desires of your heart will come to you. So, do you want what you fear, or you want what you desire? Easy choice for me. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. Okay, so the desire of the righteous is good. If you're walking the right path, you can't screw up. You can't. You might fall down and get dusty. Picketh thyselfeth up. And keep going. Realized is sweet to the soul. Your soul knows the sweets. Man, how many people crave chocolate? You know what chocolate's like. You know, and you know where to get it. I have a half-empty bag of chocolate chips in my cabinet, and I can go eat 3 or 4 at a time. And I have my chocolate fix. And I don't share them with anyone. If I'm going to make cookies, I buy a whole other bag. And then it goes in but my chocolate chips. They could be old and stale, but they're still chocolate. I know what chocolate tastes like, and I know where to find it. Your soul knows sweetness, and you know where to find it. And it's probably not at work. But what do? We work ourselves and work ourselves and work ourselves, and we come home and we're tired. And rather than hanging out with people who love us and tell us how wonderful we are, we watch TV. Your soul knows sweetness, and you know where to get it. But you have to get up off the couch and go to the cabinet and open the bag of chocolate chips. Yes. But that's why you're here. Right? That's right. That's right. That's why you're here. You go. Anxiety in the heart of man weighs it down, but a good word makes it glad. What's your good word? What's your good word? What do you tell yourself? A tranquil heart is life to the body. Oh, I'm so stressed out. Find your chocolate. Find your spiritual chocolate. She's talking to me. She's talking to me. You know what? I think we have chocolate in the kitchen. I think that's going to be vanquished by the time church is out. I think so. All right. Bright eyes gladden the heart. Good news puts fat on the bones. You know, these are just lovely. Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. A pleasant word. When was the last time you said something nice to yourself? I don't know. I can't answer that. Only you can. There's so much here I want to share, but I want to be mindful of time. Let me give you one of my favorite ones. You know me, I have lots of favorites. Here we go. Like apples of gold in settings of silver is the word spoken in right circumstances. Like apples of gold in settings of silver. Kind to yourself and kindness to others are the words we say, are these beautiful, tender little truth bombs that make a big difference in people's lives. Huge difference in people's lives. So what's the truth you tell yourself? What's the proverb you live by? Sometimes we think we got to reinvent the wheel. Go read Proverbs. Somebody's already invented the wheel. You know, let's start with something else. Now let's put tires on it. I don't know. But why start over? Let's start with what's already there. There's wisdom out there. And you know the truth of it. And you can experience the truth of it. So let's do a really quick guided meditation. I talked too long. I apologize, but I'm not sorry.